All right, so for today's math, you're doing the Are You Ready page, and you have a few things to do that you're going to have to remember how we did them. So I'm going to do some examples. So the first section, number 1 through 8, is to write an improper fraction as a mixed number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a few examples. So remember, an improper fraction is when the numerator is larger than the denominator. So remember, the numerator is the number on top. So numerator over denominator. And denominator is the number on the bottom. So the number on the bottom tells you how many parts there are to make a whole number. And the number on top tells you how many parts you actually have. So for example, if I have 4 in the denominator, that means my whole number is split into 4 pieces. So if I have 3 on the top, then the shaded amount would be 3. So then 3 pieces would be shaded in. So that would represent my fraction 3/4. So then when you have an improper fraction, that means the number on top is larger than the denominator. That means you have more than one whole. You might have 2 holes or 3 holes or 5 holes. So, for example, if I had 6/4, so that means I have a hole here with 4 pieces. But if I need to find 2 more pieces, then I have to create another hole to see what I'm shading in. So if I'm shading in 6 pieces, there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to change your improper fraction to a mixed number, which is a whole number and a fraction, you see how many times can you get a whole number from your numerator. So our denominator is 4. So how many times will 4 go into 6 equally? 1 whole time. 1 whole time. So then 4 times 1 is 4. So if you subtract 1 whole from this fraction, you take 6/4 minus 1 whole, which would be 4/4, you would get 2/4. Because remember, when you add or subtract fractions, you do not change the denominator. You just subtract from the top. If your denominator is the same, which they are, you don't mess with it at all. You just subtract the top numbers. So you'd have 1 and 2/4. However, 2/4 is not simplified or reduced. So you would find the GCF, or the greatest common factor, of 2 and 4. So I know the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. And the factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. So the greatest number that they both share, is 2. So I would divide the top and the bottom both by 2. So then I would get 1 whole, because nothing has changed with our 1 whole, so you want to carry that to your answer. 1 whole, and then 2 divided by 2 equals 1, 4 divided by 2 equals 2. So your final answer would be 1 and 1/2. So that's what you're doing for number 1 through number 9. So let's look at number 3. They give us 23/6. So if I do 23/6, I have to figure out how many times does 6 fit into 23 evenly. I know 6 times 1 equals 6, 6 times 2 equals 12, 6 times 3 equals 18, and 6 times 4 equals 24. However, I cannot choose a number that is larger than 23. So it would have to be 6 times 3 is 18. So you have 3 holes, right? And then you have to figure out what's left. What's left to get from 18 to 23? Well, I like to count. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. That's a 5. You have 5 parts left, and then your denominator stays the same. So that answer to number 3 would be 3 and 5/6. Otherwise, you can draw it out. So for number 4, we have 11 halves. Let me erase my work. 11 halves means you have 11 parts and 2 parts make a whole. So if I draw 11 halves, that would equal, see, that's one whole. There's 2 parts. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And I'm like, wait a second. I need to fill in 11. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So when you do your mixed number like this, you can easily see I have 1 whole, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. So I have a 5 in my whole number spot. And then I have 1 piece shaded in. And my denominator is 2 because there are 2 pieces in each hole. Or you could have done, how many whole numbers? How many times does 2 fit into 11? It fits 5 times because 2 times 5 is 10. And then you have 1 left to get to 11. Whoops. I drew that too really weird. So you can draw it out or you can simply do the math equation in your head. I like to draw them out. I think they're easier that way. So you have 5 and 1 half. So for your homework today, you're doing 1 through 8, and we did 2 together. Now let's look at our multiplication and division. This is super, super easy. These are just multiplication and division facts. So let me erase. If you already know your multiplication facts and you already know how to multiply, you're going to be good to go on this video. You're going to be ready to learn. So let's look at number 9, 6 times 5. You either know your math facts or you don't, right? So at this point, you can skip count. 6 times 5, so you do 6 times 1 equals 6. 6 times 2 equals 12. Then you can just keep adding 6 to figure out what 6 times 3 is. 6 times 3 is going to be 12 plus 6, which is 18. And then 6 times 4, you add 6 more to your 18, which is 24. 6 times 5 is 24 plus 6 is 30. You should be pretty well on your math facts by 6th grade. This should not be hard for you. And then when you get to 2-digit numbers, so this one is 30. Let's look at number 16, sorry, which is 11 times 12. When you have your 2-digit number multiplication, you have to make sure you do your steps in order. 11 times 12. So you want to line up your numbers. And then you start with your bottom right number and you multiply by the top. 2 times 1 is 2. Then you multiply by this other top number. 2 times 1 is 2. Then what I like to do is erase that number that I just multiplied by so I don't get confused. I know that's gone. And when I erase that number, I add an automatic 0 because now I'm moving to the other place value. And then you do the same thing. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times this one is 1. And then you need to add your answers together. 2 plus 0 equals 2. 2 plus 1 equals 3. 1 plus nothing equals 1. So your final answer is 132. That's all you're doing. And then at the bottom is division. If you don't know your division facts, you need to be utilizing long division, which I know we haven't got quite there yet. You've done it in years past. We will have a lesson on it, but these are pretty easy division problems. 35 divided by 7. You can simply do 35 over 7 as a fraction. How many times does 7 fit into 35? 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. So I know that 5 whole numbers fit in there, and there's no remainders. So my answer would be 5. okay? If you don't know your multiplication and your division facts, now is the time to start brushing up on those. That is how you do your assignment today. This is the Get Ready page. These are all the skills you're going to need for Chapter 4.